Alrighty, Michael Ty here. Let's just go through how we are going to ingest new photos. So we've just finished a photo shoot at a local pizza place. We're going to go into Lightroom. So I've already opened it, but all you got to do is open Lightroom. This is Lightroom Online. Be slightly different for Lightroom Classic, but we're going to focus on Lightroom Online because that's where we manage all our social media. Now I've already created a folder for the client here. So Sammy's Pizza was the client. I'm going to open that up with this one selected. I'm going to click Create Album, and then I'm going to call that 2024 Jan 24, or maybe even Jan 2024 01 Jan 24 for me to read. And then I'm gonna 2024 01 is just to organize it better. And then this was shot on the FX3, so then I'm going to call FX3 photos. No videos in this, only photo. If you had everything already selected, you could include this, but I do this and then I do my import. So now we're going to see an empty catalog here. It's going to say this album is empty, and then we're going to add photos to it. And when I hit add photos, I'm going to go find my media card. And so I'm going to take my media card and plug it in right now and allow this accessory to connect. Google Drive can go away, and now I'm going to find that media card. And so here I found this media card, and it's just, what day is it today? 24th. So I have a bunch of old shots in here. I'm just going to focus on everything I shot on the 24th. There's a ton of photos because we did a lot of like high speed captures and stuff like that. So then all these photos are going to come in. Now, if you had multiple days of photos, what my next step would be is I would select the photos I want. Let's say, now if you want all of them, you just hit select all. And that's what we're going to do here. Every single photo I want, so I'm just going to select all, then I'd hit add photos. Now in this case, I'm not going to hit select all just to show what I would do. Let's say I just wanted to import this range. So I would click the first one, I would hold down shift, and I would click the last one that I wanted. But these aren't selected. I can't add the photos in the top right. So if you hit the space key, it actually selects them all at the same time and unselects them if you press it again. And then I can do the import. So I'm just going to do that quick just to kind of show what happens. So now just those photos I selected are being imported. And that's great, but that's not all of them. So now I got to go back. I have to add photos again. And that illustrates another point is you can go Atlas Ultra, which is my media card, but it's going to select everything on the media card. So I'm going to cancel that, and I'm going to add photos via browse again. And I'm going to go, it's going to take me back to that directory that I just selected. And I'm just going to review for import again. And the cool thing is at the very top, it's going to show the photos that I already imported once it figures itself out. So as you can see here, I've already imported these photos and it says previously added. And then these ones down here, I haven't. So now I can go select all. It's only going to select the ones that I haven't already added. So it's a really kind of nice feature of Lightroom. There's plenty of things to complain about sometimes with Adobe products, but when they work, you gotta give credit where credit is due. So now I'm going to add all 453 photos. So you can always see it's like kind of processing and adding all of these. And then that kind of concludes the import session of this. Then once all the importing is done, it's going to be syncing in the background. We'll see up here in the top when all the import is completely done. But then my next step is to kind of start culling. And as you can see here, we have sequences where I was just doing like high speed photography. Because again, sometimes when a business owner is just doing his thing, he's not going to sit there and pose for you. We were shooting while they were making actual pizzas. And so some things are going to be great, some things are going to be not. For example, we got blurry cheese, blurry hand. And so Z and X on your keyboard, if you look down here, reject and pick, Z and X are what control this. Now I'm pressing the X key, now I'm pressing the Z key, now I'm pressing the X key. And so the whole idea now is to go through our photos and reject things. So this photo, he has a very neutral face, so I'm going to reject that. I'm going to reject that. I'm going to reject that. That guy looks in pain. That's not bad, right? So and not everything's going to be great. So I don't want to like make too many choices, but I think probably what I'll do is I'll make this my pick. It's not the best photo. Obviously, if we had a customer there who wasn't just wanting to leave, we might not even use this, but anything reasonably usable. Now this one, nice, it's in focus. We see the meat. That's pretty interesting. This one, our focus point is like not the best on this. So I'm not going to reject anything yet. I'm just going to use my arrow keys back and forth to kind of feel out what I like and what I don't like. So like this one I really like because it's very in focus. So that's going to be a pick. This one's pretty good, so I'm going to leave it as a pick. I do a second round of culling after. This one kind of seems neutral. It's not he's not really doing anything. His hand's kind of hanging there. Fingertips are a little bit blurry, so I'm gonna reject that one, X. Then this next one, we have better shots in these, I feel like, and some of this is blurry, so I'm gonna reject this one. I'm gonna reject this one because again, his hand and the front of the pizza is kind of blurry. I'm gonna reject this one, and then this one's pretty good. So now I've got 3 photos out of that sequence, and all these are kind of like burst sequences, right? So this one here, nothing's really good about it. Hand is out of focus. My shutter speed wasn't where I wanted it to be on this particular shot. So we might have very little usable, or it might even be no usable shots in this sequence. You can't really tell the cheese. It's not really an attractive shot. This is kind of kinetic in a way, but with this thing in the background and stuff, I just don't think anything in this sequence is going to work. Maybe some of the hand stuff here with some cropping. So this is getting a bit more interesting, still out of focus. This is in focus, so we can definitely tell I've got some improvements to do on my burst shooting, but hey, we're always learning. So I'm just going through and I'm rejecting anything that I'm pretty much not going to use. And so yeah, definitely the focal point on this photo didn't really go, and that's okay. Sometimes it doesn't flow. This one's kind of nice. I know I can Photoshop this tag out, or even use the clone stamp in Lightroom to take the tag out. There's no real difference between these two, so I'm just looking for the more pleasurable position. I think his shoulder's a little bit more square on this one, so I'm going to reject accept the first and reject the second. And again, always look at the bottom. You can see all those. The other cool thing once you're done is you can go up here to filtering and refining, and I can just see all the things I've accepted, which currently is only 5 photos. Or I could deselect this, and I could just hit the ones that I've rejected, which are plentiful, and that's usually the way it's going to go. Now, if you look here, I've selected both accepted and rejected to see those. A lot of times people are like, oh, how do I undo that? Just click the one you want to hide. Now, none of them are showing, so we're back to kind of seeing everything. So anyway, back to here, I'm just going to kind of continue looking at them. This particular client doesn't want to be in the shot all the time, but we can tell the focal point is pretty good on this one. This one, he's kind of smiling and doing his thing, so that's going to be a pick for sure. We definitely want some others because not always like, looking posed. So like these two are the same in terms of his position, but so now I'm looking to the right of the photo, and I find like this first one, things are a little bit more in focus here with the steam and stuff. So we're going to go with that one. This one's okay too. There's nothing wrong with it. Then we go here. These are pretty nice. So I think this one I'll reject. Ooh, this one we got the beef kind of moving a bit. That's kind of fun. And this is just getting too close. So we'll accept it. It's not a bad shot. So here the rag's in focus, so that's really not going to work. Here's where we get some nice detailed shots of them making their ground beef. And so like the whole point here is like we make our ground beef in-house. We don't buy pre-cooked ground beef or ground beef that are done. We take meat, we grind it, we cook it, and then it goes on our pizzas. So that's like one of the great things about this client. And so that's what we want to kind of talk about. So anyway, so I'm just going to keep going through all these photos. There's a shit ton of them. And the whole concept is that we're going to end up with a whole bunch of kind of workable photos. Sometimes in sequence shooting like this, like you're going to get a lot of the same. And so it's just kind of readying yourself for that and just looking like the bread's not in focus here. The bread's in focus here. A bit of the top isn't in focus, but this bottom is in focus. And so what I'll do is I'll take all of my accepted and not rejected shots, and then I'll kind of rank them and further filter them down in like a second round. The whole goal is to get all the shots that just aren't good out. Then we filter them. So we can see I have all these shots that I filtered. I can switch back here to this mode. So here's all these filtered. We can see the X here. And so then I'm gonna delete. Now, one thing to remember is if I just hit the delete key, it's gonna take it out of this album, but leave it in all photos. So the two options are you can right click and go delete, or you could do option delete as the hotkey. So again, if I select all these, or if I click the first, hold down shift and click the last, and then I hit option on my keyboard and delete, then the delete comes up, or I can right click and go delete, and then the delete comes up. And now these rejected photos are fully deleted. And so the whole idea is like, I don't need 400 photos from this shoot, maybe 50 or 100 will give us tons of content for social media. So again, you're going through, you're removing all of the 100% reject ones, and then you're doing your picks. You're doing your picks for the ones you want to do. So don't be too crazy in how you do your first round of rejections. You're going to do multiple rounds of rejections. And so the whole idea is to go fast and almost like take your time at the same time. So be like efficient. Don't overthink it. If you're thinking about something, just accept it for now. And then in your second pass, you can decide if you want to reject it. There you go.